She was the face of a generation, the highest-paid actress in Hollywood, and a woman who dared to demand what no one else would. Demi Moore didn't just play by the rules, she rewrote them. But in an industry built on tradition, silence, and control, her defiance wasn't celebrated, it was punished. This is not just the story of a movie star. This is the story of how Demi Moore rose to power, challenged the very foundation of Hollywood, and paid the price for breaking the mold. Demi Moore's journey to superstardom was anything but conventional. Born into a life of instability, surrounded by addiction and family dysfunction, she learned early on that survival required strength. She left school at 16 and began modeling to support herself. But her ambitions reached far beyond fashion magazines. By 19, she had landed a role on General Hospital, and her raw presence quickly made her stand out in a sea of rising stars. With breakout performances in St. Elmo's Fire and About Last Night, she became a central figure in the Brat Pack era. But unlike many of her peers, Demi Moore was never interested in simply being famous. She wanted influence. Her career exploded with the release of Ghost in 1990. It was a global phenomenon, and Moore suddenly had what few women in Hollywood ever achieved: leverage. She used it unapologetically. As other actresses hesitated to ask for more, Moore stepped forward. She demanded top billing, creative control, and equal compensation. And in 1996, she did the unthinkable, negotiating a record-breaking $12.5 million salary for Striptease, cementing her as the highest-paid actress in Hollywood history at the time. But power, when held by a woman, often comes at a cost. The backlash was swift and ruthless. Striptease was savaged by critics and mocked by the public, regardless of its box office performance. Her next major film, I.Jane, was a bold exploration of female strength, but the industry wasn't ready for it. The media turned on her. She was no longer described as trailblazing but as too ambitious, too intense, and too much. The same confidence and tenacity that earned her admiration now made her a target. Suddenly, the offers stopped. The doors that once welcomed her closed quietly. Demi Moore hadn't lost her talent, she'd simply refused to conform. And Hollywood, threatened by her independence, pushed her aside. But Moore did not fade quietly. She stepped away from the spotlight not in defeat, but in preservation. She focused on her family, her healing, and eventually, her truth. In 2019, she released Inside Out, a candid memoir that laid bare the pain behind the fame. She detailed the trauma of her childhood, the challenges of addiction, and the brutal double standards she faced as a woman in power. Her words were raw, honest, and unflinching, and they resonated around the world. What emerged was not a fallen star looking to reclaim the past, but a woman who had endured Hollywood's most punishing trials and returned stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. She redefined what longevity in show business looks like, not as a desperate climb to remain relevant but as a steady assertion of self-worth and truth. Today, Demi Moore is no longer bound by the constraints that once tried to silence her. She is an icon not just because of what she accomplished but because of what she endured, and how she rose above it. She didn't just break the rules. She exposed them. And in doing so, she changed the conversation for every woman who would come after her. Demi Moore challenged the status quo, refused to apologize for her ambition, and survived the fallout with grace. Hollywood may not have been ready for her, but history will remember her as a force it couldn't contain.